Hey, I just want to talk about MK Ultra and v2k and how they can get inside your mind with certain devices that they've created since the 60s and 70s. Um, there was some director in the CIA that developed these weapons, these devices that could tap into the human mind, and you could, you would, it would appear that you would be receiving messages from God or from spirits or some sort of ghosts or divine or negative beings that would be inside your mind. And the CIA pretty much mastered this MK Ultra voice to skull technology. There was some director in the CIA, anyway, as if I recall, who developed all these weapons, and he sold it to a lot of military companies and things during those times. And he developed radios and all kinds of. He was like a sound engineer of some sort, and that was a big part of the MK Ultra voice to skull technology that people are using today. And they do it in. They've been doing it in World War II as well, like since those times, but they didn't get it as good as they did when in the 60s and 70s, when digital devices starting to come out and analog devices, and they could really get into people's minds in that time. And if you're an elderly person, like, it wasn't as bad back in those days, where the way they could control your mind like they do today, what they do to the people today. And they've perfected this voice to skull technology. And you're also getting very narcissistic comments and all kinds of like put downs and defamatory, slanderous comments from the voice to skull technology that you're using. And it's all designed to break you down and cause mental illness in you. And they're doing it to all the TIs across the world with the frequencies and voice to skull technology. People will get like pain in their ears. They'll feel pain all over their body and things. And also the gang stalker is trying to enter the person's mind and manipulate it, and always try to put people down and cause a mental illness, some sort of breakdown in the individual. And voice to skull technology is a big part of the gang stalking that they do these days. If you can control somebody's mind, you can pretty much control the world. And that's why, in a way, they control also the elites as well. And they're targeting everybody in today's society with all their tactics on the way they speak to each other and things in their monsterhood. And the way they speak to each other it's narcissistic, it's gaslighting, it's very negative in the conversation on a subliminal level. It can be good sometimes, you see, sometimes they're having a laugh or whatever, but they're in a way, everybody's suffering from this voice to skull technology when people are entering other people's minds without other people's permission. And everybody knows what everybody's doing pretty much in today's life, and they're using the voice to skull technology to pretty much locate you and scan you everywhere you go. Like, there are people that could probably hear you on the other side of the world, what you're saying in your mind. And they can make that happen, where basically they use the technology, and then your mind is broadcasted to the whole community wherever you live, and to the world pretty much. And they deal with you in very psychological ways. They use all their it's a psychological warfare pretty much, this MK Ultra voice to skull technology that they use in gang stalking. It's very negative, you know. It's designed as a psychological warfare on human beings around the world to break you down in order to join them. And you fall a victim to the program or whatever, and then, you know, next thing you know, you wake up and, you know, you're a totally different person living another life because they've like programmed your brain to think like that. And this voice to skull is so powerful. It can make people do things that they don't want to do against their will. And, you know, it's people who are suffering from voice to skull technology. If you're a TI, they're under enormous pressure. They're fighting them. They're doing battle with themselves against good and evil, even in their own conscience, when they look at people, look at children, look at men, you know, on the behavior, the gestures all around the world. And not to mention all the voice to skull that's going on in your mind, and your mind's being broadcasted, you know, to a lot of people out there in the community. And they will come across your path and they will like try to intimidate you and slander you and try to make everything negative in your mind to basically like make you look hopeless and there's no hope, and, you know, to try to make it like you've got no choice or you've got no options in your life and no hope. But it's all a tactic, psychological tactics, and they've taken over everybody's mind with this voice to skull MK Ultra technology. And if you're on a high level, if you're going through things like what I'm going through, like everywhere I go, everyone's inside my mind, constantly like bombarding me with like negative things, calling me ungrateful, saying that I'm not a good enough person, physically, sexually, financially, you know, they all try to ruin all those things, those aspects about an individual, his work, his relationship, his family, and they will program everybody around you to gaslight you and to hurt you and to say very bad things to you and not to help you in your targeting. And you've got to understand that everybody is under MK Ultra voice to skull technology. And, you know, people are just going to be negative everywhere you go. But you have to beat the algorithm. You have to just try to beat all the psychological warfare tactics that they use on you, because they're using doctors, they're using psychologists. These people are highly intelligent, these gang stalkers, and they're going to face you with all kinds of intelligent people that think they can like outbeat you in a lecture into what's going on with voice to skull and all that technology, to try to make your statements flawed and to make your discredit everything that you're saying, and trying to make every aspect of your life your fault, you're to blame. But just remember, this is bigger than you can possibly imagine. They have taken over everyone's mind. Everybody is under this some sort of MK Ultra, and that's what you're going to face in your gang stalking. And with that being said, take care.